Hello and happy WikiTree Day to everyone. How are you, Kay?
Okay, happy WikiTree Day.
Happy WikiTree Day. Wonderful. So welcome everyone who's here joining us live, and welcome to everyone who's watching this after the fact.
How
I
do
hope
I?
you're
Okay, okay.
What were you going to say?
I was trying to find the comments.
Oh, okay. Welcome back, Greg. Yes. I've been going straight, and so every now and then you're going to see me take a sip from my TARDIS mug of coffee. And while Kay's presenting, I might take a little bite of my muffin, so please ignore that. Anyways, we've had some wonderful presentations that started off with a wonderful welcome intro by the team. So if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend you go back that and see that. And we've had some presentations already on the tech track on apps and the browser extension. There's another one on the WikiTree browser extension immediately after this. But the focus for this hour is Kay Knight and her BioCheck app and all the wonderful goodness that's there. And now, thanks to Hacktoberfest, baked into even more apps and stuff. So it's all very exciting. So Kay, thank you for doing that. That BioCheck app is used in so many places and is so valuable for many WikiTree members. We really appreciate it.
Well, I found WikiTree because I was searching for sources.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found that there were a lot of profiles that weren't marked on source that didn't have any sources. And so that's why BioCheck came about. And then, you look at a profile and you got to say, well, it's laid out like this, and here's where the sources are, and blah, 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 which is like, okay, so for the code to do it, it's got to look at the layout of the profile. And that's what led to the style checking and why it's maybe, because it only looks where sources are supposed to be, and they're maybe not there.
Right.
So I guess what I ought to do is share my screen.
That would be good.
Talk about BioCheck.
Fantastic.
And while I'm doing this, okay, so after everything is done, is it sharing?
Now it is. I have to add it. There you go.
Oh, okay.
We see the kaleidoscope.
Yes, you see the kaleidoscope. After all is said and done.
That's right. Much more is said than is done.
Ian and I need to talk about some more things to be done, but
okay.
So you can all see my screen because I can't see you.
We see the WikiTree welcome page. Be part of something big.
Okay, so here's it's the resolution looks good.
Yeah. Okay. I can infinite regressions. Yeah,
okay, so I've done this before. I know first, how do you find it? You go to apps. In fact, find and help are like, you're going to want to use those all the time. So if you go find apps, it'll take you to the apps page, which has BioCheck, as well as we were just talking about the browser extension.
And also the DNA. When I did my presentation this morning about the DNA confirmation app, I forgot to tell them this is how you get to the DNA confirmation app.
Yeah, I think I answered.
Oh, there. Yes, good. Thank you. That was a little bit of a oops on my part.
Oh, another thing you can find from here is projects.
Oh, nice.
And so you go and you can find projects, and then you search down through it, and you can get to, this is the Profile Improvement Project page. And under resources, there's this page. And I'm going here because it's just the links to the different help that you might look at in parts of your profile. And we're going to want to, talk about that from BioCheck. Okay, we'll go to BioCheck. This logo up here will take you back to the main WikiTree page. There's something for all you folks that have been using BioCheck forever that you didn't realize. It'll show you your version number, and it'll show you if you're logged in. You can use BioCheck without being logged in. You just can't check a profile you can't see when you're not logged in.
Right.
So on the top left-hand part of the screen here, how to find profiles. So this is saying this is what I want to check.
Mm-hmm.
And on the right-hand side is this is what I want to report. This is what I want to see. So if I go here and say I want to do that, I still got the same stuff on the right, but the stuff on the left changes. Then again, here's your buttons to control what's going on. When you get a result, you can download it for a spreadsheet. Help will take you to the BioCheck help. There's lots of ways to find BioCheck, but if you find the BioCheck help, you can find the app. And there's one for WikiTree Plus. These two lines here is the state and the progress. So those two lines are going to change depending on what you're doing. And then your results are going to show down on the bottom. If I say summary report, I'm going to get different set of headings. The sources report is just going to show me the sources in the profiles, or nothing will show me nothing. We're going to go detailed, and I'm going to check for my profile 5 generations of ancestors, and there are no descendants, but we'll check them anyway for up to 1,000. Okay. So
can you zoom in maybe one more level to get it just a little bit larger?
How's that?
I think that, yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I could read it fine, but I'm just wondering if some people might find it a little bit small on their screens.
Yeah, given my age, I have that problem a lot. So what happened? Well, it looked at 45 profiles, but it didn't find any style issues or unsourced or sourced, ones that BioCheck thought weren't sourced, that weren't marked with the unsourced tag. So if I go over here and change the report to look at everything and run the check again, then you're going to get all 45.
Mm-hmm.
So since it's sourced, the required sections and style issues, which are issues with the profile, are not going to show you anything, but it will show you how many valid sources there were and how many inline references there were. Oh, I don't have any inline references on my own profile. How about that?
You don't?
No. But if we go down to, you can tell I've clicked on most of these. Let's go to Mary. If I click on the profile, it takes me to her profile. And I can see what's on there. The cemetery with those huge, huge mosquitoes. And from her profile, one of the things that I can do is tree apps.
Mm.
And I'm not really so much interested in the dynamic tree, but I want to see the CC7 views for her. So, and I only need to look at 3 degrees because she's far enough back that she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so you can't find evidence to prove the Mayflower connection. That's all I can say.
That's too bad.
Now, if I go down here and filter, somebody's probably talked about CC7 and how with the tools you can say I want to enable BioCheck on the filter on the profiles.
Mm-hmm.
So here I can say show me the bio filter by the things that fail BioCheck or have some BioCheck issue. So let's look at Jonathan Treadway, because he might be a clue. So he's got an empty biography. Okay. Or he has some questionable things about him. These things are all described in the BioCheck help. And if we go back to where's her ID?
Is that Rude 536?
Yeah.
Next to the go button.
Next to the go button. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to do that.
Oh.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that.
Oh.
I'm going to take that and I'm going to go back here. I'm going to check her profile. So you can put any profile in to check. So this might be kind of a lot. No, not a lot. So this is if I just look and do a check for Mary, for her 5 generations of ancestors and 2 descendants. If I go look at Thomas now, he's got a question mark. So he's maybe not sourced. Well, if we look at Thomas, he's got a couple of family trees. Okay. So what that says is he was born in 1642. And if you look at the reliable sources, help, family tree is not a reliable source. So he's not sourced. Let me go back now and do something else with Mary. I'm not going to look at any of her relations, but I'm going to check 3 degrees of connections for all profiles. And maybe before I do that,
okay,
let me go back to where I just was. There's 5 and 2, and I found 73 profiles. Oh, because I'm reporting all. 3 style issues, and 1 that was maybe not sourced. So the style issues is the headings and levels. So if I say check 1 degree of connection here, what it's going to do is it's going to take those 3 profiles that had issues and check 1 time for all of their relatives, immediate relatives. So that's going to take those 3 and go check their parents and siblings and spouses and children.
Oh, interesting.
And this increases exponentially. I wouldn't go more than 2 because I went from 3. Now I got 10. If I go up to 2, now I'm going to get a couple of dozen. So you get that couple of dozen, you go fix those profiles, and then you start doing this again.
Right.
So now if I say no ancestors, no descendants, but we'll go 3 and we'll check connections for all profiles, that's going to be the same as doing a CC3 view.
Okay. So if you hadn't checked that, the number of degrees of connections, it only checks the ones that had issues.
Yes.
Like it only goes out. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this should be the same set of profiles that were in the tree apps that we did for Mary.
Right.
Checking them here.
3, yeah, CC7 for 3.
So I don't know if I've confused everybody yet or not.
Almost. That number of degrees of connections to check, I would not have, if you hadn't explained it, I would have assumed it meant the number of degrees of connection from all of your 5 ancestors and 2 descendants.
Yeah.
But it only kicks in with the ones that had issues, because
the ones that have
issues are the ones that you probably want to check more.
Yeah.
Is that the logic?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's the logic. In fact, that's what was there. And then the whole CC7 stuff started. And it was like, oh, yeah, I can do that as I was already doing it. Let me go back to myself. And I'm going to report all profiles. Now, we remember there weren't any, but I'm going to look for a phrase inside the biography when I do it. And so now, for those 45 profiles, Oh, I guess I got to go back and do 5 generations of ancestors to get anybody. I found farmer quite a bit because I tend to put in people's occupation because I think it's interesting. And any of these columns you can click and it will sort. Nice. Each sort reverses the sort. So we can see that, where's George? 1868. Is he the right George? Oh, yes, this is the right George. Was it George or George's grandson? In 1880, he was a farmer. Okay, so George was a farmer. George was a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and I change this to, it's more interesting when I do a CC on it. But if I search for farmer or search for prison, I find he also shows up for prison because his son got old enough to work the farm and he went off as a keeper at the Auburn prison.
Oh.
And you find so many interesting things when you do this genealogy stuff. I went there and I found his obituary, and he was a man of strong personality. Now, if you go read about the Auburn prison system, okay, which is where they kind of invented isolation, and he was a keeper there in the 1880s, it all kind of makes sense. Back to BioCheck. BioCheck could also be called...
Do you have any pirates?
No, no pirates.
No pirates.
BioCheck could also be called a rabbit hole finder. You can search for anything that you can search on WikiTree Plus. Now, if you're not familiar with WikiTree Plus, it's the text search. And if I go to the help for WikiTree Plus, it's search, text search. So any of the combinations that you can search on WikiTree Plus, and there's a lot of them, we do without a lesh. I don't know.
I know.
You can do anything. So let's say that we want to look at profiles that were born in 1866 that are orphan profiles. And let's just do a couple hundred. We don't need to search for any phrase. So we're going to look for people born in was there a baby boom after the U.S. Civil War?
Oh.
I don't know. But so there's style issues that are just moving stuff around. Here's somebody with an empty biography. There's some that are maybe not sourced. Heading levels. Sally has 3 lines between sources and references, and I haven't looked at her. So this is winging it. I haven't looked at it.
Well, that's very spaced out.
Yes, but is she sourced? I do not think she's sourced. Is there sufficient information here to be able to go find?
It's very general. I mean, you'd know what category to look in, but you wouldn't know what year or what record to find.
Yeah. The answer to that is when is a profile unsourced? And it's got to be specific enough to find it.
Yeah.
And BioCheck is too stupid to know. It's possible with a marriage date that she could be.
Oh.
It's possible. Let's try somebody else. Gertrude, I think I've been here.
Yeah.
And, she's sourced. She's got enough sources. She's just got some formatting issues because you should be able to find, I don't know how to do research in England, but if it's the 1901 census, that's enough details to find that census.
Yeah, and it's with the address and everything.
Itself is a lousy source, but
census records.
Yeah. Oh, there's better ones.
Oh, yes.
I did a search for born in 1866 orphan. If I go here now, and click on the WikiTree Plus button, it's smart enough to take the text that you search for and how many.
That's smart.
Well, if you've done the Jedi challenge, you'll see that we search for those now.
Yeah. And before we go further, Kate, let me just, for people who are new to WikiTree, when we talk about orphan here, we mean in the sense that the profile is orphan and doesn't have a profile manager. It doesn't mean necessarily that the person in the profile is an orphan.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that for people who are new to WikiTree.
Well, let me go take orphan off from the search, and change the report to a summary report, and check the profiles again. Now, in this case, it'll show you just whether or not it might be sourced. And I'm not sure, I forgot what privacy means. Show you the dates and whether or not it has an active profile manager. So I normally don't do this because it might call out somebody. But this
But in
guy,
1866?
born in 1866, no sources. There's a good example of not a valid source.
Yes.
Here.
Find a grave.
Yes, find a grave.
Any grave.
Any grave. Any grave. Or, it's like internet records. Yeah, I found it somewhere on the internet. Kind of like saying library.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things, if you do go out and you go to WikiTree Plus and you do a search, you can take the results from that search and start BioCheck for that.
That's great.
That's another way to get to BioCheck. This one, here I can show, see the progress. See the progress?
Yeah,
And cancel.
That's nice.
Thanks, Riel, for showing me how to make that cancel quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. The cancel is great because it actually says, oh, no, I didn't want this, and stop pounding the WikiTree servers to try and get this data. So we did summary report. Let's do something different. We can search Onondaga.
Ooh.
Do a detailed report. 200 is probably enough. We probably should have done orphans. So that's going to find any profile that the data fields have orphan in them.
Right.
Okay.
The privacy thing, I bet you that refers to whether the profile is open or closed or whatever. But for 1866, they would all be open because of the age.
Yes. So here's your rabbit hole finder for you. Okay. You grew up in Onondaga County. And actually, when you were in high school, you worked at Fay's drugstore. So I wonder if this George Fay was related. It looks like, he's just got an HTML tag that's not recommended. If you go to the help, there are a set of recommended tags in the help of what is recommended. And what not to use and why not to use it. And it's kind of very interesting. A lot of it follows along Wikimedia, which derives from Wikipedia. And if you look at their style guidelines, you'll see a lot of the same things. So this guy's got strong. Instead of strong, we could probably just use bold. That would accomplish same thing. It's not critical, no big deal. Claude here is unsourced, and he died in Skinny Atlas. By the way, that is how you pronounce it, Skinny Atlas.
Skinny Atlas? Skinny
Atlas. A really slight of build person holding a globe. Skinny Atlas.
Oh wow, that's good. Skinny Atlas.
Well, it's an Indian name, but around there you find Camillus and Marcellus and Ovid and Pompey, and there was a guy who was interested in the classics who named a bunch of the places there. So one more thing I wanted to do here was an orphan born in 1880, and we'll do 500 of them. This is just, I found this one and I just had to share it. It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it shows you going through. It'll go 250 at a time. Once you get more than 1,000, it'll do 1,000 at a time. You probably don't want to do more than 5,000 if you can avoid it. But I just had to share. Okay, here's a profile that's using a table. It's using an HTML table as opposed to a
HTML
wiki
table, not a wiki table.
not a wiki table. There's a couple of possibly unsourced people. I love this one.
Look at this.
This one.
I'll add later. Yeah.
This was created in September 2020
Mm-hmm.
and last modified in September 2020. It's later.
It's much later. It's very, very much later.
It's later. And this guy.
And then they abandoned it too. So not only did they create it, said I'll add it later, and then just abandoned it. Oh.
Yeah. So I'm thinking Newkirk is the same came in at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one really probably ought to be looked at because married 3 times, maybe conflated, maybe not. Maybe married 3 times, maybe 4 times. So BioCheck is a rabbit hole finder.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things you can do is you can say, I only want to look at things that are open and that are after 1500 because I want to change them. And I can't change. I know I don't want to go through the hassle of, I'm looking for a rabbit hole. I don't want to go through the hassle of coordinating with a profile that's not open.
Right.
Or profile manager. And I'm not pre-1500 certified. So I don't know what there would be. What was this got 34 with 28 this way.
Okay.
What happens if we do it? If we change it?
I can't imagine there'd be many different.
No difference. No difference.
Yeah.
You might see a difference.
Now that loaded a lot faster that time. Is it because it was probably query once? It was cached.
It was cached. Somebody cached it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some caching going on both in WikiTree Plus and WikiTree. And
now, if you do the same query but you change your reporting, does it come back as fast and just give you a different report?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Now, what I'm going to do here is do reliable sources required. Mm-hmm. In other words, I'm going to apply those pre-1700 rules. Didn't try this one before to see if it's going to make a difference. But it maybe not. Maybe not. I think I need to do something different here. I've been through so many of these that it's getting harder and harder to find things to work. And this is another one of those. Later.
I'll add later.
I'll add later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This guy, possibly. No, this guy hasn't been. Yeah, he's cleaned up. He's okay. He's okay. Yeah. Anyhow, I don't have a good example for the reliable sources required. I'm sure I can find one. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else we can do here. Let's do a completely different type. I can look at my watch list.
All right.
All right. Let's go look at my watch list. I'm probably not going to be very, very interesting. But I could look at all the profiles on my watch list, although I'm only going to do the first 200. But what I'm going to get out of this is I'm going to look at the profiles and I'm going to see, I could search, but I can see how many of these don't have, how many sources and how many of them are inline references. If I want to go through and add inline references to my sources. But the other thing I can do is I can click this little guy here and only report the profiles that I don't manage. So this is a BioCheck. Let's take this report all profiles off of here. This is a BioCheck of profiles that are on my watch list, where basically I'm not the manager, but I'm on the trusted list.
Trusted list, right? Okay.
So this is doing a BioCheck of profiles where I'm on the trusted list. And why is it taking so long? It's okay. There we go. It took that long just to find out there were that many. So anyway, these are the guys where I'm not the manager, but I'm on the trusted list. So we could go look at, for example, Mary's father. We started with Mary. And I think, no, this is Mary's grandfather or great-grandfather. Yeah, great-grandfather. That's where all these sources got lost.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't have the church records. And I found a lot of stuff in Connecticut right around the time of the Revolutionary War. You aren't going to find it.
Oh, did they get burned or what happened?
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is I had ancestors that wanted to live there, and then when the war was over, they moved to rural areas in New York where there were no towns, there were no town records, and there were no churches. So I think the guy that ran the ferry, if there were people that lived near him that went to church, they probably took his ferry to get over to where there might have been a church. Random profiles.
Oh, that's fun.
You can do random. I try and put this max number up to how many we have. I think I forgot it last time.
Okay.
Just do 100. The only problem with this is you can't tell whether or not it's an orphan. But if you really want to just find something to go work on, you just say, okay, here's some random profile. I'm going to go look at it. And yeah, that's not sourced. It's not marked unsourced.
Is there any dates at all there? There wasn't any dates at all.
Was there? No, she has no dates. He has no dates. His father has
That's going to be hard.
Her father has dates. Wait, how can his father has dates? So you can do. You got an estimated date for him
based on the husband.
Yeah, and so that's your clue. That will give you your dates. Of course, you don't have any locations.
Oh my goodness!
Which always makes it more challenging.
That's going to be tricky.
Yeah. So yeah, with random, you can go find. You can have a really fun unsourceathon if you just go in and use BioCheck and say, okay, he's buried. This is unsourced. That's not enough information. I don't know about Willow Springs Cemetery. Is it one of those cemeteries that has like 5,000 or 10,000 graves? Or is it one of those cemeteries that has 40 that maybe survived before they opened the new cemetery?
Right.
So random profiles, then every time you do it, you get another random bunch. Random bunch. You find a BioCheck bug, it's here. So let me go back to here. So let's say I want to find, let's go, I don't know if on a dog is any good. Let's try Cayuga. Let's try, I haven't tried this.
B-O and B-O. What's
undated.
That? Oh, undated.
Undated. B0. B0 is no birth date. D0 is no death date. So Ebenezer Harrington died sometime in Cayuga County. Okay, this came out of some biography. This came
Yeah.
out of some history. So if you go look at the Cayuga County history, you'd probably find him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Harrington name sounds familiar.
Hmm.
So maybe I would want to say, let me do birth. I think it's birth location. Let me just do 100 and see what I get.
Okay.
Is that right? Okay, birth location. Okay, so let me do birth location, England, orphan.
Okay.
Let me do a couple hundred here. And I don't know. Oh, and open profiles only. Okay, which is checked. So if I do that, I might be finding, let me click on sourced. No, there's only one. So maybe I got to do more profiles. So maybe I'm a trail guide on one of the trails that takes orphan profiles that are already existing and wants you to use those. Now, I don't know if they're going to do it for ones that are unsourced, or maybe ones sourced that need some cleanup, where they have like 3 sources but none are in line. So this is the kind of thing that a trail guide might be able to use to find profiles to be done on the trail.
Right.
You know, this one has 9 sources, none of them are in line. And this is somebody who surrounded their each URL with a less than greater than sign. So that's another. What you can do is limited only by your imagination. Now let me go back and check challenge contributions.
Ooh.
I want to look at the Source challenge for this month and see what I did. I did a couple so we could find them. There's 4. And Jay here it's marked unsourced, but I added sources. But I intentionally forgot to remove the unsourced tag as part of the challenge.
Right.
And this one, I also claimed her. Just making a change to demo that
Oh, that's funny.
And I don't know what I did with Arma. Oh, Arma's kind of interesting. Arma says it's a twin of Anna. And so somebody probably wants to go research the birth records of 26 November 1843 in Woburn, Massachusetts, because there was one record, and the transcription is all that I found online was Arna. I think it might have been Anna. Those would look very similar written.
Oh, yeah.
So I added
it's probably just a transcription error, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I would think. So, but it needs a little bit more research before a merge is proposed. And it had famsearch.com as its original.
FamSearch.
FamSearch. Oh, there's a number of them. So
wow.
I don't think I did anything here. I might have. Yeah, I did, but I didn't do anything with intentional errors in it.
Right.
But I did add.
Super handy, because I know when I do a challenge, sometimes it varies from one challenge to another, but there's some in July that I need to go back to. This will be an easy way for me to find those ones that have.
Probably not.
No,
because the challenge tracker, only goes back 2 months.
Oh, it doesn't go back to the July Connectathon?
It doesn't go back to the July. Now, you could probably go back to Sourceathon, which I don't think I participated in.
Oh, the Sourceathon was the one in September, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you go to Connectathon, what is in the drop down there? Oh, that's connectors.
Oh,
That's not Connectathon.
connectors. Connectathon is not tracked, isn't. So this is only things that are tracked in the tracker where you have to actually go in and click the challenge contribution when you make the change to the profile.
Okay, but the Connectathon automatically does it, so it doesn't
Yeah.
get added to the tracker.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Now you want to find what you've done. You can go back to
Yeah. So say I know I have this week of dates that I want to check what I've done.
oh yeah, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
That's tough. Okay. Well, what if
I don't
what
know.
if you use a created date?
We could work with Alesh and figure out how to find it, right?
Well, is created is the creation date one of the search fields?
It might be. It might be. It might
Alesh
be.
is there. Oh, Alesh says it should be okay.
Yeah, and I probably ought to go do this and look at everybody I've created to see if anybody's got any issues. Because I haven't done it. I have my.
Popping up. It looks good.
Yeah, it's only the first 600.
Oh.
I did this whole going wide fan type thing.
Did you?
So here's Clark. And so if you look at the whole tree, you can see I've done all these other people. In fact, if I go to, if I go down to Lucy's brother, Simon, I did all of his kids and their descendants until I got to people that might have been living.
Nice.
Because I was trying to figure everything out because Simon and Currents, okay, Simon's sister, Lucy? Married Currents's brother.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I go look and I see a DNA match, well, yeah, from which one?
Yeah, that's right. Which couple? Yeah, so because you got double first cousins happening there, right?
Yes, it's double first cousins and lots of twins also.
Oh, and did they use the same family names?
Yeah, I think the twin came from Benedict, but I'm not sure. It might have come from Reed, which is a fun one to try and track down. So what have I not covered? What have I not covered? Look, here's a good one. Any GEDCOM, as long as...
Oh, yeah.
As long as you have not removed the line that says that has the name of the JED file, yeah. As long as you haven't taken that out, then you can look at the profiles from a GEDCOM, which can be really, really handy if some of them have been fixed, but you want to look at all the profiles and you want to get them all in order, in the order that they came in, because you've got broken relationships, you've got one of those undated, unlocated profiles. Yeah, something's going on the system. It's acting real slow. It's acting real slow right now. I should have done fewer.
Alesh is watching us. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's updating it so we can add the connectathons already while we're watching.
Maybe he's doing that link from the tracker page where you can go see your tracker contributions.
Yeah, maybe.
BioCheck. So here's a few of the profiles from Indie Grandma.
Okay.
And
that's a great name.
Yeah. It's one of those GEDCOM that's on the, we were working on it on the Jedi Challenge, but some of these, they're marked, they're not, this is sourced. It just needs a little bit of formatting, I think.
Oh, well, that's not so bad then.
Well, it's probably okay. You can find the information. You might need to fix the burial location or
Right.
died location, but
we've seen worse, right?
yeah. So here's a good example of one that came in through a GEDCOM. There's nothing in it. It's unsourced.
Mhm.
If I go look at Pioneer stock, don't think there's an underscore in it.
Oh, well, someone popped up right away, so that's good.
Yeah, no, that's
Oh, that was wrong.
that's like it. That's Pioneer stock. This
There
is a really frustrating GEDCOM to go clean up. Well, that wasn't too bad. Well, okay. Unknown, unnamed infant. Oh, I thought this was the one. There's one that has all sorts of. Here we go. It's it needs formatting, but it's got enough information to find the source, and that's why BioCheck says, well, maybe it's sourced, maybe it's not.
Right.
Oh, I didn't show you this.
Okay.
Orphan.
Okay. We've got a couple questions, so we want to have a little bit of time for questions at the end. But
okay, all right.
Ooh.
Let me just put a few things in here. Now, see the BioCheck results? Let me go over save draft. It's empty. That might be unsourced. So while we're here, let's go ahead and mark it as unsourced.
Mm-hmm.
Did I just go brain dead? Did you see that brain dead? That was my.
No, that's fine.
Move the mouse over save draft.
Oh, yeah.
And check it again. It got marked unsourced.
Uh-huh.
And
nice. Yes, that's really handy. The fact that when you hover over that button, it updates the BioCheck status.
Yes.
That's super handy.
It will do it every so often as well.
Oh, yeah, even without hovering?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even without hovering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I should. So we did some formatting and unsourced. It should have a died young sticker, but let me stop sharing the screen.
Okay. So that was a great overview and detail, not just an overview, but a deep dive into BioCheck and all the features. Nice to see some of those new ones. We do have some questions. So David asks, and Ian actually answered, but for the benefit of those who weren't here and didn't see the live chat, is BioCheck and WikiTree Plus, are those suggestions the same, or do they check different things?
They are different. However, BioCheck will check for some things that show up as suggestions. And if you want to know which ones, you got to go to the BioCheck help and read through the help, and it will tell you the number of the suggestion that it corresponds to.
Okay, that's good. So Ian did answer him, and he said he did say also that they're different. The focus, I think the key thing that Ian brought out, the focus is the BioCheck is, of course, the bio itself. Yes. And the focus of WikiTree is just is suggestions in the data and other fields.
There are some things, though. I think that WikiTree Plus does do a search for email addresses inside the bio text. I know BioCheck does that.
Yeah. So they are different, but they are linked, and which I love the fact that now they're linked. You can go from one to the other, use the same search in one as the other. That's very cool. Michael asks, are there any parameters we should tweak before choosing check challenge contributions? I ask because check challenge contribution seems to break the app for me.
Oh, okay.
And he said continued, so let me just see if I can find what he says. Oh, his continued says it draws a narrow box and then stops.
Okay. Yeah, there's you might have hit on. Try refreshing your browser. If that doesn't work, I'll send you a link to run the command line run BioCheck with the command line arguments to make it start. There was a different set of things that were stored in your browser cache. You could solve it by clearing your browser cache, but you probably don't want to do that. And if I send you the auto start link, that will take care of it.
Okay.
Should take care of it for you. It's really scary. Let me tell you that. The narrow white box that shows nothing, that is really scary.
That is scary, yeah. So should Michael send you a private message?
I've got his email address.
Oh, you know Michael.
Yeah, I know Michael.
Okay.
We've been working together. It's a collaborative website.
Yes, that's good. Well, that's good. Oh, look at this. This is nice. So Maria was saying that she was enjoying the presentation and seeing a female programmer showing off her stuff, and then Ian welcomed her to join the team.
Yes.
Please do. Yoka says that you can sort on creation date. So
yes.
So the question that I had about, can we just search for profiles that were done within this range, because those are probably the ones I worked on during this competition.
Yes.
That could be a way of narrowing that down.
If you can imagine it, if you can figure out how to do it, it's probably there in WikiTree Plus.
Yeah.
I use an auto text expander browser extension in Firefox.
That answers Maria's question.
Last time I tried to use it in Chrome, which I basically only use for debug and development. I use Chrome for my debugging and development, and I use Firefox for real life. And on the iPad, I'm like, I use Chrome, and so I have Safari, but I don't use it much. So yeah, it's so much faster for me to type 3 characters, keeping my hand on the keyboard, like RT8, which is references tag, than doing a copy paste, because then I have to move to the mouse and so on.
Right. Yeah. And Alesh did say that you can search for the word GEDCOM junk.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and let's see.
I know those are a couple of the suggestions that he has that I also report, I think.
Right. Yeah. We have a question. Maria's asking, do you use a browser extension?
That was the fast typing, I think.
Okay.
Manage extensions. Auto text expander is the name of what I'm using on Firefox.
Okay.
And the last time I tried to get it to work on Chrome, it wasn't working. Now, the only problem with the auto text expander is that it doesn't work when you have the advanced editor enabled when you're editing a profile.
Okay.
But I'm enough of a techno geek that I can handle that inline ref tag. The save buttons were on the side. Oh, that's a WikiTree browser extension.
Yes. And you have that as well, right?
Yes. So I have a couple of the WikiTree browser extensions enabled. I don't have all the features enabled. In fact, I learned a lot from the last presentation on what all is there. It's just completely overwhelming. But one of the things, and I'm sure Murray will be talking about it in about 6 minutes.
That's right.
Change options or something like that.
And we're going to do a deep dive into the editing profiles and all the things you can do inside that.
Yeah, and I already showed you to move the mouse over.
You did.
Over save draft. Yes, I didn't want to jump on his.
No, but that's a good one. I mean, it connects.
I showed you CC7.
You did.
And the BioCheck integrated there. I'm sorry, I didn't show fan chart with it integrated.
I showed it this morning at 9, so people could go back and watch that.
Right. We got it. We got it in we be working on this. WB. We be working on this. And I got a little side message chat going with Ian that after all this is said and done and everything is over, I see another couple of places we can put a BioCheck in maybe.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah.
That's
In
fantastic.
fact, I'll want to talk to you about that, about how we can make it easier for developers
Yes, that's right.
to use it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kay. This was wonderful. People learn lots and appreciate the work you do, and I saw many of them really appreciated that and were blown away, and are going to have to watch it again a few times or slow it down and watch it. So that's great.
And remember, there's this huge help page that's trying to explain it all. If it's confusing, let me know.
That's right. Yeah, I'm just going to put the link to that help page here again for everyone so they can see that. And with that, I think I will bid you all adieu. And in 4 minutes now, if you want to come back, if you've installed your browser extension like you from the last session, Murray is going to be joining me again, and we're going to be taking a deeper dive into the WikiTree browser extension and find out what more you can do with that. And so thanks again, Kay. And everyone, have a great WikiTree day. Enjoy the rest of it. Bye.